36-14 is the final. Michigan gets win number 2 of the season, Sam. It wasn't pretty. I know the score would say otherwise, but Michigan gets it done today. Even they were pretty stagnant there in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you win it kind of comfortably, but there are a lot of things for coaches to focus on and practice. But I like to start with the positives, and the biggest one to me today was Ty Isaac. Getting the start and coming out and picking up right where he left off in the last game. The guy runs those perimeter plays, those stretch plays, those toss sweeps. He runs those extremely well. I think they liked him on those plays last year, but one of the differences I really see in him is what he is doing at or behind the line of scrimmage when faced with a tackler. There was one play where he shook off a tackler that tried to get his legs in the backfield. He gets up past the line of scrimmage, shakes another tackler, and then gets about 5 or 6 more yards. The yards after contact and making guys miss, free tacklers on him when it's a one-on-one scenario. He's been winning those battles. It was 80 yards after contact last week. I think it's going to be another very, very impressive stat this week, yards after contact for Ty Isaac. So Jim Harbaugh called him an ascending player. I think you're definitely going to see him continue to be featured in this offense.
Yeah, he said he didn't know he was going to get the start until last night, but he was told by Jay Harbaugh, the running backs coach, and earlier in the week he said, hey, I could get 3 carries or 20 carries. I just want to be a leader on this team. Clearly, he deserves multiple carries and maybe that feature back role. Moving on, quarterback play. We have to talk about Wilton Spate. 15 of 27, 200-plus yards, 2 touchdowns on the afternoon, but everyone's going to look at those overthrown balls. Once again, they didn't lead the points this week, but fans are always going to go stir crazy when they see those overthrown balls.
He started out well. Nice deep ball to Kakoa Crawford. Nice accuracy there, really kind of led him on the play. But again, he kind of described what happens on plays where he's feeling pressure and he has to elude a tackler and reset his feet. He said he's not getting his base right, not getting his feet under him, and not able to follow through on his throws like it's necessary in order to be as accurate as we've seen him be. Just needs to tighten up, man. I mean, there's really no other way to describe it than that. Jim talked about tightening up his ball handling. He said, you've had a couple of balls mishandled in there. The jet sweep, maybe there were a number of things that maybe went wrong from the timing of the snap to how shallow Kakoa Crawford was. But he said ultimately the quarterback has to be better handling the ball. He said a bad habit for Wilton is handling the ball with one hand. He said, you got to keep both hands on the ball when you're handling, and that's a habit they're going to try to break. So early season, mistakes, correctable issues, and hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. They're going to be drilling it in practice.
I want to move over to the defense. They gave up that on short field. They gave up the touchdown in the first half. Cincinnati comes on the field, scores, and that pretty much their best drive of the game. Yeah. They go 80 yards to open the second half. Pretty much shut them down the rest of the way. And you have to go and talk about the play of Tyree Kinnel. Led the team with 9 tackles, a sack, and, of course, that interception he returned for 23 yards early there in the first quarter.
He had an interception return for a touchdown. There was one tackle he made in the open field here going toward the south end zone where he was the last man between, the ball carrier and the end zone. He made that tackle in the open field. Tyree Kinnel in these first couple of games. Tyree Kinnel, excuse me. Sorry about that, Tyree. Tyree Kinnel in these first couple of games has been, I think, outstanding. But I think if you want to point to one thing, it's another adjustment by Don Brown. Michigan came out in that odd stack again, and they were really effective, I think, for about a half and confusing Cincinnati with where the pressure was going to come from. I mean, they were really effective with the edge pressure. Last game, it was pressure up the middle, blitzes up the middle. This game, it was pressure off the edge. But then you started to see in that first drive of the second half especially, things started to break open up the middle. There was a big QB keeper up the middle there. And after that series, Don Brown went to more 4-man front. Went to clog things up more in the middle. Michigan started to control the line of scrimmage a little bit better. Weren't as leaky, not just in the run game, but in allowing the quarterback to buy some time. He got a little more pressure on him as a result as well. So another big adjustment by Don Brown. You go back and look at the tape, you'll see more 4-man front, more Brian Monet on the football field after that first series where Cincinnati went down the football field.
Kakoa Crawford scored a touchdown. Grant Perry scored a touchdown on a key throw there by Spate late. And then you got to look at Lavert Hill. He scored on the interception return late in the game. You got to while you can look at the negatives, like you said, you can look at the positives,
Right.
and there was a lot to look at today as Michigan looks on to week 3 and Air Force.